Phoenix and LA. So I-10 is probably a pretty flat stretch of highway. Not. I think there's like one small mountain in between us, maybe one or two. So I just want to see what the average gas mileage is, and just driving straightaways through Phoenix, you know, through down I-10 westbound, I'm getting around 18 miles per gallon average. It's going back and forth, climbing a little bit of an on-ramp right here, a little bit of a hill as we climb up into the center of Phoenix. And
it's where the airport is.
Where the airport is, yeah. But what's really cool is look at the mileage that it's getting on these straightaways. I don't know if you can see that in there, 17.7. That's just me cruising around 58 miles per hour, towing 14,500 pounds, and I'm averaging around 17.5 the last 3 or 4 miles. I mean, yeah, it's not very far, but the idea that it could even get that kind of gas mileage, to me, from an engineering standpoint, is just beyond amazing. The other thing is I got the 342 gear in here instead of the 355. So the truck often moves around in 5th gear and not 6th when I'm below 60. It usually doesn't shift into 6th gear when I'm towing that trailer back there, the RV, until I get around 60 miles an hour, and then it'll shift up into 6th, and the RPMs will drop down to around 1400 RPM, which is like, whoa, that's really low. And it'll just cruise. It'll cruise. So I kind of really like this idea of not over-speccing the truck, so that you can get the highest gear ratio that will support your towing needs and maximize your fuel economy. So I brought my average down to around 16.4, and I don't know how many miles I've gone, but I've done a little bit of, so I've got a little bit of an overpass to climb here, and that'll probably bring my mileage down a little more. The idea that I could have gone 5 or 6 miles now and still averaging around 16 miles per gallon, it's like, what? Unheard of. There's some people driving in their pickup trucks getting 16 miles per gallon, their half ton, without any load. All right, here we are coming up on 83rd Avenue in West Phoenix. I've now traveled across Phoenix, most of it, which was most of Greater Phoenix. I think 91st Avenue kind of represent the sort of borderline of the Phoenix metro, and I've gone about, I don't know, 15 or so miles, and you can see my mileage is still around 16.7, and so it came down from 17 down to 16.7, and there was a large overpass that goes over central Phoenix, and it's after the tunnel, so where there's a big interchange. That had to climb that, brought the mileage down to 16.7. And considering that, you know, I'm towing this big fifth wheel right here, 14,500 pounds, that's just phenomenal. I mean, I had a pickup truck with a 4.7 liter V8 that would often get that mileage all by itself without towing anything. It's just amazing the fuel economy that you can get out of these turbo diesel trucks, particularly the Ram with the 6.7 liter Cummins turbo diesel. This thing's just getting phenomenal gas mileage. It's actually come back up to 16.8. You can see I'm doing about 60 miles an hour. And it's just comfortable for me. I don't really want to do 65 right now with all this. It's pretty dense traffic, so rush hour. So I'd rather just do this. So if I have to hit my brakes for any reason, it's just less speed to brake. So. All right, on our last leg of this journey is from Phoenix to LA. 6.5 hour drive by car, which RV miles is probably about 8 hours. And what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to reset my mileage in Phoenix on the east side, and I just want to see what kind of fuel economy I get, because I know I-10, the stretch between Phoenix and LA, doesn't have very much mountainous stuff in it. It's pretty straight most of the way, whereas when I was traveling from South Dakota, Mount Rushmore, down to Phoenix, I went through a lot of mountains. I went to Colorado, through a lot of mountains there, and it averaged around 11.5, 11.6, going through all those mountains, and including the Arizona mountains. I climbed mountains there, and it averaged around 11.5. But when I'd hit the straightaways, I could see that the instantaneous bar was showing me 12 or better, and I've been wanting to get a good straight stretch of highway and just see what the mileage is on a straight stretch. And I think this I-10 is a pretty good stretch to do that. The only small caveat is we're going westbound, and westbound is into the headwinds that blow from California toward Arizona. There's always this wind that's blowing that direction. So if you're headed eastbound, you get the tailwind, but if you're going westbound, it's a headwind. But we got up early in the morning, and those winds usually don't pick up till around, I don't know, around 11, maybe noon. Probably depends on the day. But it's 6 o'clock in the morning right now, so there is no wind. So I'm getting the benefit of just straight shot, and we'll see what kind of mileage it gets. Right now it's showing 16.3, and I've gone about maybe 20 miles, and I'm showing 16.3 miles per gallon average. And we're just going to see what it gets all the way to LA. So it's doing pretty good right now. So we're even hitting some overpasses and going up and down overpasses. The RPM right now at 60 miles an hour is around 1350 RPM. I don't know about you, but if the idea that an engine can tow 14,500 pounds and turn 1400 RPM, that's just amazing. Just can't sing enough praises for these Ram trucks with a 6.7 liter Cummins turbo diesel. They're just, this is like really incredible engineering for it to be able to crank out this kind of torque. So it is just literally leisure. Granted, I'm not climbing any hills, but it's just leisure driving down the interstate. So, all right, we'll check in later and see what the mileage is. Phoenix, westbound, we've gone about, I don't know, 80 to 100 miles now, and it's brought my average down to around 14 miles per gallon, which is still pretty good, I think. And you can see where my engine RPM is pulling about 1350 RPM. We're going about 62, so I have the cruise set at about 62, and I set it there because it seems that's sort of the best spot for the best fuel economy. I can certainly go faster if I wanted to, but I want to see what kind of fuel economy is possible with it, towing this RV. And so yeah, we're just going to keep going like this and see how it does. Alright, here we are at a rest area. So I didn't realize this, so I really paying attention to like fuel economy as I'm driving down I-10. But there are some small mountain ranges that you do have to climb. They're not like real big ones, but it's like I-10 kind of cuts through a small ridge line, as you can see there. And it's really sort of a climb and a plateau, and then you crest over the plateau and then go down the other side. And so I've had to do, well, this is the first one. I've had some small plateaus to climb over, and each time I climb over one, I lose a little gas mileage climbing it, and then when I go down the other side I recover most of it, but not all of it. So there's always a little bit of loss after I've gone over that plateau. And here we're at a rest area where I've just finished climbing one. I haven't yet gone down the other side where I'll recover some of that fuel mileage that I spent climbing it. And so you can see what my fuel economy is so far. We're going, I don't know, 150 miles or so. And you can see it's set, it's about 13.5 miles per gallon. So that's pretty good. That's pretty good. That'll probably pick back up to around 13.8 because I'm going to go down for a little ways, and my average will shoot back up to around 14 on the way down, and we'll see what it gets all the way to LA. But this is what it's towing. It's a 2018. If you're just tuning in now, it's a 2018 Tradesman. It's 6.7 liter Cummins turbo diesel. Has a 342 rear gear ratio. It's a 3500 one-ton single rear wheel. I'm towing a 2019 Coachman Chaparral. This is the 392 MBL version of this. So it has a GVWR of 14,500 pounds. And since we live in this, it's fully loaded with all of our gear. Has water in the tank, fresh water. I even carried a little sewage because I didn't bother dumping it at the last RV park we were at. So just to show you here, let's go lift this up. You can see I'm not towing this thing empty. So that's a lot of storage in there. It's all we pass through. It's full of stuff. Show you here. This is not an empty RV. So I have a few things in there. So yeah, not an empty RV. And to get this far, with an average of 13.5 is, I mean, that's just phenomenal. To come that far with get that kind of gas mileage. I'm hoping that maybe when we hit some of the real flatbeds on I-10 between here and LA, maybe bring my mileage back up a little bit. We'll see. It'd be great if I could get to LA and have around 14.5. That would just like, that'd be like, wow. There are some vehicles out there that don't tow anything they can't get 14.5. But to get that towing this much, and you can look up the specs on this. It's a 392 MBL. I'll show you the model number on this trailer. There's the model number. You can Google that online and look up the specs. This is not a super heavy RV, but it's pretty heavy. Heavy enough that you need a 1-ton to tow it. Okay, here we are coming into Quartzsite. We're gonna stop and get fuel here. We're close to the border of California. Our fuel economy is still, you can see there, around 13.5 miles per gallon. And yeah, there you go. Okay, you can see our RPM. We just finished climbing a mountain, a small mountain. There has been, I didn't really pay attention to these before, but there are some small, maybe 2,000 foot mountains that climb up and down. Not very big, at least for out west. They're not very big. And those have brought my fuel economy down. I guess it's been 13.5 for a while now. I was hoping for a little bit better than that, but that's still really good. However, I'm running into a problem. The winds that travel from west coast to the east, there's this jet stream that goes from west to east every day, and those are going to be a headwind to me. They've already started to pick up at 5 miles per hour right now. They're going to be at 9 miles per hour by what? 9 o'clock. And then by 2 p.m. they're going to reach an 18 mile per hour headwind, and that's going to destroy. Last time this happened to me, my fuel economy just plummeted. I was getting like average, like 11.5. So we'll see what this does. California speeds are lower, so maybe at the lower speed it might not impact it as much.
But their freeways are terrible.
Their freeways are in terrible shape, yeah.
That'll drop down the gas mileage too.
Yeah, imagine
They're
all
very
those taxes
bumpy.
for fuel and it doesn't go into the freeways.
Nope.
Doesn't seem like it.
Nope.
So I was really hoping this would be a really good test all the way to LA to see if I could get around 13 to 14 miles per gallon. Pull in my fifth wheel RV. It's fully loaded. But I know that mid-afternoon we're going to be really fighting some headwinds in California, crossing the desert on I-10. So we'll see. We'll see how this impacts the fuel mileage. And at least from the east side of Phoenix to the border of Arizona, our average was 13.5 miles per gallon, and that was including climbing some small, not very large, but some small mountain ranges. On, you know, they would, the interstate would go between the peaks, of course, but you maybe have a 1,500 to 2,000 foot elevation to climb up and down. Getting gas in Quartzsite. Okay, here we are. I don't know how far into California, but just I thought my gas mileage fuel mileage has dropped off some, so we're around 12.7. You can see there. There you go. So we're down to about 12.7 right now. So I don't know if the winds are too high yet, but going this direction in California is always more difficult than going east. West is, especially in the midday. And at the speed I'm at, I'm like, you know, you can't go 60 anymore, but like you could in Arizona, or 62. So the speed limit here is 55 if you're pulling a trailer. So we'll see how it holds up when we get the rest of the way to Soledad. California, westbound, of course, headed toward LA. And I didn't realize that there's a mountain range right before you come into Indio, east side of Indio. And I guess we've been slowly climbing that, and you don't really notice that it's this gradual climb up until you get to the top of it and you look down into the valley where Indio is. And so when I came down that mountain, I picked up a whole bunch. By average, obviously, picked up a lot. Coming down that mountain. So now I'm back at 13 miles per gallon. You can see there on doing about 55, 56 miles an hour. That's as fast as I can go here. And we're doing about pretty good, 13 miles per gallon. So we'll just keep going and see what it looks like when we get to our destination. We both can talk.
No, I don't want to be in it.
Yeah, okay. All right, so my wife looked up what the headwind is, and so it's not very fast. It's a 7-mile-an-hour headwind, so it's not been too bad. However, it's going to continue to increase its speed, and it's 11 o'clock now, and at 2 p.m. it's supposed to be, what, around 18 mile per hour? So, I don't know. Anyway, we're going to be at our destination around 12:30, 1 o'clock, or 1:30 is it? Or, I think it's around 1:30.
It'll be 12 miles per hour.
And it'll be 12 miles per hour. So.
But this evening it's 24 miles an hour.
Yeah, it's going to be 24. We'll be off the road by then. But that's, I mean, you can imagine trying to fight a 24 mile per hour headwind. And you know, we're pulling a fifth wheel, which is pretty tall. That big, huge front cap that's why wind is real important, because that huge front cap on that fifth wheel is like this big giant sail, and when you're trying to drag that thing against the wind and you're going 50 miles an hour and you have a 20 mile an hour headwind, it's like you're going 70 miles an hour. And so the truck has to work as if it's going, you know, your speed plus the headwind speed going the opposite direction. So right now it's not too bad. We're only fighting about a 7 mile per hour headwind. And I don't get the best gas mileage at 55, 56. I think I have my cruise set at like 56. But the speed limit for me, they can go 75, the cars can. But trucks with pulling trailers have to go 55 miles an hour. So, and I don't get my best mileage at that speed. What I get it is right around 63. It's kind of my best mileage. Because right now, you can see the tachometer, it's about 1,500 RPM. I'm driving in 5th gear, and I'm not in 6th gear. So if I can speed it up to like 63 or so, it'll shift up into the 6th gear, the final gear it has, and it'll bring the RPMs down around 1,400, and it'll get its best gas mileage right there. So I can't run at my optimal speed because the speed limit difference, the legal requirements for the law doesn't allow me Arizona I could. So that's one of the reasons why I had a bit better gas mileage in Arizona. So we'll just keep going. We'll just keep going, see what this ends up with, what kind of gas mileage we get, and we'll check in later. Okay, you can see the wind's really picked up, and 17 mile an hour headwind now since we come to this pass. You can see the windmills are really working, so there's quite a bit of wind. I can really feel it right now. Pull over here, I literally started losing trim. You can see it's going to be very windy. We're really fighting a headwind now, up to around 20 miles per hour. So it's really kind of, plus I'm climbing a mountain, so it's really cost me gas mileage. But that's the kind of test we want to do. You want to find this stuff out. You know, what kind of mileage can you expect in a real world application? And you know, in the middle of the day, California is very windy, and so is Arizona. So is pretty much any out west. So anyway, let me get this fixed and see what I can do and get back on the road. Alright, here we are, 1,000 Trails, Soledad. A lot of hill climbing, a lot of headwind, but I got here, and so there's my average. There's my average, which is down to 11.6. It was actually 11.7 when I pulled in here, but I had to, Google Maps routed me down a dirt road, and I had to turn around and climb back up a steep hill, and I lost some. So anyway, a wrong turn, and all climbing. So I was hoping to get like 12, 13 miles per gallon, around 13 miles per gallon. I think I would have if it weren't for the headwinds, even with climbing all the hills. But
it was up to 18 miles an hour.
Yeah, up to 18 mile an hour headwinds, and it brought my total mileage down to 11.6 by the time I got here. So the cool thing is when I'm going through cities, you know, like just the interstate, right? Not stoplights. When I'm traveling through the interstate at the speed limits, the 60, 65. You know, this thing's getting 15 to 17 miles per gallon towing that big rig. And that's the cool thing. I hit the straightaways, it averages around 13 to 15. And of course, when I go through the mountains, you know, of course, it can drop around 11 to 12. But that's still a really phenomenal gas mileage, considering that it's a 1-ton truck pulling a 14,000 pound fifth wheel. I think it's around a 23 or 24,000 pound gross combined vehicle weight, and to get better than 11, you know, 11.6, even through the mountains and against headwinds, is still really, really great. So that's our test here of just seeing what kind of mileage we can get, and we'll see you later.